I wholeheartedly believe that purpose needs to be discovered. Now, one of the key things that we must understand when it comes to dealing with purpose is understanding that the discovery of a thing is not the creation of that thing. All right. The discovery of a thing is not the creation of the thing. And so, though I wholeheartedly believe that purpose needs to be discovered, I do want you to know that we are only simply discovering, unearthing what already exists. All right. So we are not creating a thing. We're not making purpose to be something that's new. It's simply discovering, finding out, unearthing what already exists. And so when I speak of discovering your purpose, you already have a purpose. We simply are here to help you find out what already exists. All right. So, really quickly, whenever you're dealing with the word purpose, we have to understand that purpose deals with three-letter words, and those three-letter words are WHY. All right. Purpose deals with three-letter words, and that three-letter word is why. The very core of understanding what purpose is simply understanding the why of anything. Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why do you go there? Why do you go here? Why? That's a question that many of us are scared to ask. And sometimes it can come off as a vague question. But why is a question that I believe every one of us, although we may not ask it publicly, we're all thinking in our mind. Why am I here? Why was I created? Why do I exist? What is the purpose for my life? Why am I alive? Every one of us, in a way, shape, or form, we are all asking the same question. Why? We just have to give meaning to it. And so, whenever you're dealing with the question of why, when it comes to your purpose, when it comes to your being here on earth, we have to understand that purpose at its root cause, or in its root word, in a sense, it can only be discovered or can only be understood through the lens of the creator of the thing for which you are asking of its purpose. So, for example, if I had a cell phone like this cell phone over here, I may not be able to properly articulate the very reason why this phone exists, but the very reason the one who manufactured it has the full knowledge, the full detail on why that phone exists. And so, whenever we're dealing with the word purpose in anything, the best answer of the purpose of a thing can be found in the one who created it. All right. So the best answer to discovering your purpose can only be found in the one that created your purpose, which begs the question. To discover your purpose, first we must discover who created you. Okay. I have my Bible here, trusty Bible. We're just talking about discovering your purpose. All right. And my trusty Bible here. And in the book of Genesis, we kind of go through this journey where God, Moses, really, who wrote that, began to kind of give us a walkthrough on how the earth came to being, how God, in his power and glory, created this heaven and the earth. It says in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And so we begin Genesis by seeing that in the beginning, God created. Now, we did not see any creation of man in this very beginning. We see God creating light. We see God calling the light day and the darkness calling he night. We see God creating a firmament. We see God calling the waters under heaven to be gathered together into one place so the dry land can appear. And we see God calling the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called sea. We see all of these different mechanisms that God is setting in place. But the question has to be why? Why is God creating all of these different things, and yet we are yet to see the introduction of man? We don't see the introduction of man all the way until Genesis 1 and 26. The book of Genesis 1 and 26 says, "And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness." So if we're reading this now, it was not until the 26th verse on the sixth day that God created man. Now, it would seem odd If we are so loved by God, if we are so cherished by God, then why didn't God create us first? We actually see why. It says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. How amazing that is! That we are introduced to a God that literally creates with purpose. Remember, it was not until Genesis 1:26 that we see that he creates man. Yet we find out why he created man in that specific verse. Let us create man in our image after our likeness and let them have dominion. Over what? Over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Let us make man, and let the man that we made, let him now have authority over all the things that we have created before him. Ain't that fantastic? That God did not create you without a purpose. And the very sole reason why he created you is because he saw a need in earth. You were created because there was a need for management on earth. Remember, God literally creates all these different things, and we didn't know why he would create them until we get to Genesis 1 and 26, where he literally now says, I created all of these things before man so man can take care of them. And for me to ensure that man takes care of everything I've created, I'm going to make you in my image and my likeness. Ain't that amazing? That you were simply created in God's image and likeness because God saw you fit enough to be able to take care of what he already created, earth. The Bible puts it this way in Psalms 115. It says, the heavens, even the heavens, are the Lord's, but the earth has he given to the children of man. That God saw you fit enough to say, this being, this man, this woman, this person that I've created, I saw you fit enough as long as you have my spirit to now have dominion over earth. Now, here's the question. What does that still have to do with our purpose? Just because I know the word dominion does not mean that I understand how to reign, how to rule, how to have authority, how to be able to function on earth. The clue on discovering your purpose is actually hidden in Genesis 1 and 11. We skim over Genesis 1:11 all the time. Genesis 1:11 says, and God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree, catch this, yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. That is so interesting to me. That God, in created plants with a mechanism that sustains its future. God says, let the fruit tree, let the herb yielding seed and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed it's in itself. God designed the tree, the fruit, in such a way that he says the future of you, the way you will be able to be sustained, Mr. or Mrs. Fruit, is through the seed that's on the inside of you. In other words, for the fruit to go find its future, it has to be willing to be eaten for seed to now be buried so more can grow. Why is that important? Did you see the pattern God did there? In Genesis 1:21, he showed a pattern in saying, I don't have to come back down to keep planting every time. I don't have to come back down to keep remaking fruit or remaking trees. I simply have to make one tree with fruits and allow the fruit to have seed on the inside, because that seed is a guarantee that the fruit will survive. What does that have to do with your purpose? When God was getting ready to make man and make man have dominion, the book of Genesis lets us know that God found a little bit of an issue. He said he saw that it was not good for the man to be alone. And so God had to make a helpmeet for the man. In other words, God saw and realized that this man by himself, in the fulfillment of his purpose, being alone was not beneficial to him. And so what did God do? God then formed a woman out of the rib of the man. God did not have to go back to the dust to form some dust. He did not have to go back to do anything. He simply brought out of the man the help that the man needed. I don't want you to miss that pattern there. For God to produce help meet for the man, he brought out of the man, similar how he brought out of the seed, out of the fruit, the seed that plant needs to be able to reproduce. He brought out of the man a woman that was needed for him to no longer be alone. Why is that important? In that story there, we see a pattern of God creating solutions from the inside. The solution for the fruit tree survival is in its seed. The solution for Adam's reproduction rather, was on the inside of him. Do you realize that your solution is on the inside? Do you realize that there is a solution on the inside of you? That everything God created, He created with a solution in mind. There was nothing that God created to be a problem. Everything He created it with a solution. But the problem is when we are trying to discover our purpose, because many of us, we're stuck sometimes. We're like, well, I don't like the job that I'm in. I don't like the career that I'm in. I don't like the situation that I'm in. And we're like, God, take me out of this. But out of this that you're looking for is actually inside you. And let me prove it to you. Everything God created, He created with a solution in mind. Now, if you are a solution, the question has to be, if you are a solution, what do you go looking for? You see, if I was a fruit tree, for example, and I wanted to multiply myself, I'm not going to go looking for other fruit trees. I simply have to find a ground that will accept my seed. The issue for us is we are like that fruit tree. But the problem is we keep going around trying to find a solution when what we should be looking for is a problem that needs us to be productive. A ground is simply useless without a seed. When you have a ground you could pour water on it, it's just pointless. But if you take that ground and you put that seed in there, now that ground becomes a foundation that's meat enough to be able to hold and sustain life on earth. If you are a solution, you need to find the ground. And when I say the ground, that is not in the literal sense the ground like earth, but it simply is a solution must go look for problems that needs it. Here is the dilemma. Nobody likes problems. And another thing is, many of us don't even know what looking for problems sound like. I have a story in the Bible I want to share with you. Everybody in scripture who lived a purposeful life found themselves attached to the thing that God was going to use to help them unearth their purpose. They found themselves attached to it. Look at David, for example. David came and he was like, well, you know what? I just came here to feed my brothers who are in the army. I have no business being here. But something about Goliath bothered him. Something about Goliath made him furious. Something about Goliath made him uneasy. Many times, the way that God will indicate to you the very solution that's on the inside of you, He will bring problems along your way that make you uneasy, that make you uncomfortable, that make you say, you know what, I cannot get this thing out of here. When in reality, what that thing is really trying to say to you is, I'm refusing to leave because you are the only thing that can help me. What if you saw problems as things that are coming to say, help me, fix me? I would not leave you until you fix me. That's what Goliath was for David. David found himself in a place where he was like, man, you know what? I can't seem to get this man out of my mind. I may not be strong enough. I may not be bold enough. I may not have the resources, but something about Goliath is bothering me. What is your Goliath? What is that thing that keeps bothering you? Maybe you may not have the money to fix it. Maybe you may not have the resources to change it. But what is that thing that keeps bothering your mind? That every time you go to sleep, you think about it. Every time you wake up, you think about it. Everybody else may see it and ignore it, but something about it sticks with you. Something about it bothers you. What is that problem that keeps whispering to you saying, fix me? What is that problem that keep whispering in your ears saying, change me? I would not let you go until you change me. The question is, we ignore that problem. Now, there's some people who say, you know what? Yes, I hear you, Josh. I get it. Problems are attracted to solutions. But how do I discover my problem? Listen, one of the few ways that you discover your problem, number one, is when you have to write down the things that catch your attention. What are the issues going on in society? What are the issues going on in life? What are the issues going on in your environment that keeps you up at night? Whether you can change it or not is not the question. You see, David did not know if he can change the situation of Goliath, but it bothered him enough to say, what will be given to this man if we can eradicate this problem? I'm talking about that thing that's boiling on the inside of you. I'm talking about that passion that's on the inside of you that you're saying, you know what, I may not have the money to fix this. I may not even have the friends or the connection, but something about this bothers me. What is that thing for you? What is that thing that bothers you? Everybody else may not care, but something about it bothers you. I want you to start thinking about that thing. What is that thing that bothers? It literally drives you to the point of saying, if this thing does not get fixed, I will literally lose my mind. Something about this thing annoys me. What is that thing? Because that what it was. What it was for David was Goliath. Something about Goliath bothered him enough to say, I'm going to go stand before Saul and say, hey, Mr. Saul, listen, I got to fix this situation. And Saul said, you know what? I'll give you my hammer. Come on, I'll put my armor on you. I want you to. And he said, no, 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 I can't. I don't even care about your armor. Something about this situation bothers me so much. I don't even need your armor. I'm not used to your armor. I'm not used to your armor, Saul. Something about this situation is bothering me. I got to change it. And I believe that God will help me change it. What are the situations that keep coming to your mind? That's number one. Number two, way to discover the problem is you have to ask yourself 5 to 10 years ago, who did I need? That is a very real question. Who did you need 5 to 10 years ago? If you can go back to the most critical areas of your life, the critical points or parts of your life, who did you need the most? Catch this, break it down into different categories. Who did you need physically? Who did you need financially? Who did you need emotionally? Who did you need spiritually? Write that down. Who did I need 5 to 10 years ago? 5 to 10 years ago, if I was in this position or when I was in that position, whatever that position may be in your mind, who did I need? Who or what did I need? Many times, the traumatic experience that you experience are so you can get someone else out of that. Sometimes God sends your problems that are indicator of the solution on the inside of you. And sometimes those problems are not just problems you see, but they're actually problems you experienced. What are some issues that you experienced that marked you for life? I want you to think about that question really quickly. What are some issues that you experienced that marked you for life? Maybe it could be something that you're like, you know what, I can't tell nobody this. This is too harmful. This is too much. This thing scarred me. What are those things that scarred you, that marked you, that put you in a place where you're saying, I don't ever want anybody to go through this? The question is, what if God allowed you to go through it so you can develop the solution to make sure nobody else in your community goes through it? What if God allowed you to experience it so you can create solutions to make sure nobody else experienced that? What if? What if the very problem you've been avoiding? What if the very situation you've been ignoring? What if that problem was God's way of saying, I allowed you to go through this so you can ensure that no one else. You say, how do I know? Ask Moses. Imagine Moses. Moses had no idea that he was called for such greatness. Moses had no idea that he was called to lead a nation out of oppression. But something about his people being in bondage bothered Moses. Something about the Israelite being mistreated. It bothered him so much so that he was willing to kill for what bothered him. God strategically positioned Moses in a place where the problems that kept on coming to him bothered him so much that he says, I have to do something about this. I would kill for this thing. It bothers me to see my people suffer. He did not know that God was going to use him, but something about that problem bothered him. What is the problem that God keeps bringing your way that's bothering you, that you might not feel qualified to change, that you may not feel anointed to change? What is that thing that keeps bothering you? It bothered Moses to the point that even after he killed the oppressor, the Bible says he ran away when people found out. Only if he knew that his running away was prophetic. I've always been fascinated with how was Moses able to escape without being caught. I wonder if God allowed him to escape just to utilize his escape as a prophetic message for what was getting ready to happen to the children of Israel. What if God utilized your escape from that thing that could have killed anyone else, that could have killed you, that could have ended your life? What if God allowed your escape to become the grounding foundation for you to help others escape? The third thing I want to ask you, what did you escape from? God have mercy. People are going to discover their purpose tonight. What did you escape from? Moses escaped from Egypt. Little did he know that God was going to have to send him back to get a nation to escape out of that. Can I encourage you tonight and tell you there's a nation that's waiting for your obedience? Yeah, yeah. There's a nation that's waiting for you to say yes. There's a nation. You think you're the only one that went through that? And God is saying there are millions of people that experience what you experience, and they will never share their story until you decide to obey. Hey, Moses, are you going to go back to Egypt? Uh-huh. Hey, Moses, are you going to go back to Egypt? Hey, David, are you going to confront Goliath? There is a nation that is waiting on your yes. There's a nation that's waiting on your obedience. There was a nation that's saying, come and get me out of this mess. I don't know what that mess may be. It may be financial situation. It may be abusive relationship. It may be educational illiteracy. Whatever it may be, what is God impressing on your heart to say, I created you to change this. I created you to modify this. I created you to bring about a change to this situation. And if you disobey Moses, there's a nation that will die. Here's my last question for you. What is the price of your disobedience? What is the cost of your disobedience? Who suffers if you say no to the call? Who suffers if you say, I don't feel like it? I don't care about it. What if Moses said, I didn't care about it? Well, I don't have to deal with Pharaoh. I'm here now. Who suffers because of your no? What if Joseph says, well, I don't care about that? Who suffers? What if David says, I don't care about that? What if Daniel said, I don't care about that? What if Jesus says, I don't care about that? Could it be that the very problems that you've been trying to ignore are God sent so you can escape and bring a nation out with you? Listen, it's 27 minutes. I want you to chew on these words. If this blessed you in any kind of way, share this, encourage somebody with this. Um, this is a passion for me. My goal is to help businesses, help teams, help you discover your purpose. I'm a purpose coach. It's only so much we can do in 30 minutes. But I hope that this has blessed you. I hope that this has equipped you. I hope that this has given you a solid foundation that will cause you to go home, to go to your car, to go to your bedroom, to begin to think, to begin to ponder, to begin to say, what must I do? How can I change? How can I make a difference? How can I identify these problems? If this blessed you in any kind of way, I want you to put that in the chat, put it in the comment. If you would like to be a blessing by sharing this. Be a blessing by sharing this. Be a blessing by sharing this. Um, I'm not, I'm offering these services for free. We're not doing this for any monetary gain. This is a passion for us. But if you're like, hey, I want to be a blessing, I want to be able to give, you absolutely can. And the way to give is simply, I'm going to give you Cash App just because I feel like Cash App is so much easier. The way to give, if you like to give, is simply my last name and my first name. It's right there on the screen if you want to give through that. I hope this blessed you. I say this is going to be a 30 minutes uh, masterclass, and it's been 30 minutes. It's 29 minutes as of now. And so I hope this touched you. I pray that you take this message, take it, share it, um, expose it to others so they can learn and they can discover their purpose. I want to help you discover your purpose. I want to help you grow. I want to help you become who God has called you to be. God bless you. Have a wonderful night. Good night. Bye bye.